Alright, hello again guys, welcome back to my channel. Kojiro from GamingandJapan here, and in this video guys I'll be talking about the new September 3rd update for Resident Evil Resistance and the new things that particularly Annette and Alex can do from the part of Masterminds. I don't really play Survivors that much, but I'm gonna touch briefly on a couple of things with the Survivors, especially Martin, because I think that he's the best anti-creature survivor right now with some of his skills. But for now, let's just go to Annette, and I'm going to discuss my opinion about some of her new skills, and I'm going to show you a couple of games with commentary after that. So as you can see, I'm rank 140 with her. I've played a lot of Annette. I think I know this mastermind very well. All the masterminds got two more variations to their passive skills in that section here. So the first one is called V-Act, and it says the buffed creatures no longer pretend to be dead, get up quickly after falling on the ground, and become impossible to knock back before fully mobile. Okay, that doesn't sound very bad. Okay, you need to have at least one buff on the creatures to be able to do that. But team, and the main thing that you have to remember here with these changes is that these are only for skills. Okay, if you can do that things with a piece of equipment or with a card from a deck, that's different. But when you have to use them on the passive skills, you need to sacrifice something. Okay, so the main question is, do you really can find a way to efficiently use this and sacrifice the defense that you receive from buffs or the greatly enhanced effects of the buffs for all creatures for being able to do this? And I don't really think this is worth that much, to be perfectly honest with you. First of all, I don't know if many other people know this, but if you actually have fresh blood equipment, your creatures actually get up from the ground faster than normal. Okay, that's probably something in regards to their AI trying to get to the survivors faster and grab them, but you can achieve some of that effects with like other additions to your creatures, so please keep that in mind. And to knock back before fully mobile, first of all, your creatures need to be able to live through the damage that is going to be done to them after initially getting knocked on the ground. So again, in order to do that, you need to have enough HP to your creatures, and you're probably still going to be needing the enhancement passive skill in order to have, this is the thing that puts Annette over the top of other masterminds when it comes to creatures HP. So in short, this thing is questionable. In my opinion, the way the game works now, and with the addition of this skill for Martin, with which he can cancel out 4 creature buffs when using flash grenades or flash buttons. So if he runs like this together with some mixtapes or something, he can pretty much ensure that in every major encounter at some point the creatures are not going to have buffs, and you're going to need to rebuff them for them to really achieve their best efficiency. But in order to do that, you really need to have the most bang for your buck from a single buff. That basically means that it's better to use greatly enhanced effects for all creature buffs. You either use this one, or probably even the restore creature HP. Okay, because from a single shot you get mileage. Okay, when you have this, it's not that effective. And even if you have this now with the threat of Martin on the map, even if you have the defense, in order to get the best like value out of defense, you need to have as much buffs as possible. But if you get all your buffs cancelled, okay, you're not going to get the best value from only a single buff. So my opinion is that the best possible way to proceed with her now is to use the Great Enhance effect for all creatures, and not having enough, not having a lot of buffs in your deck. I'm going to explain that a little bit later. And that use the because you will need to have buffs on your creatures in area 3, and like this configuration is the best one in my opinion. Now onto the Epsilon strength. Okay, this is where things get interesting. This obviously increases the zombie dogs and liquor health and attack power. And if you want to run something like this, you need to have obviously a liquor and triple dogs in area 2. Okay. Triple dogs in area 2 is effective, but actually if you have a preset with dogs, you don't really need to have dogs in your deck and use them in area 1. Triple dogs are more than enough, in my opinion. But in order to be able to, I'm going to show and comment a game with that thing a little bit later. But to get the most value, you need to have some kind of damage in your equipment, or in the worst case scenario to use this one for Virulent Claws for infection and for slightly increased damage. You can probably do something like this. And also if you want to run liquors, this puts a lot of, also because you need to have discount and you need to have energy boost for creatures. I mean, 7 energy for a liquor is too much. The time where the survivors getting too freaked out about having to encounter liquors on the map is over. People are not that freaked out by liquors, and people know how to deal with them better now. So you need to have, in my opinion, miniature reactors in your equipment to relieve some of the strain to your energy use in your deck. And since both of these creatures are not controllable, you need to have probably either another buff or another controllable creatures. Like I said, it's not really that mandatory to have a singular zombie dog in your deck, although it's going to only cost you 1 energy, but you can probably run Berserk or something else, but it's not mandatory. What I really love to do, by the way, I'm still in the experimenting phase for this, is actually to use the anchor. Okay, the anchor is not that bad of an idea, because since you're not going to run, if you want to run liquor, you're not going to run full like HP in your equipment, and if you run an anchor for the decreased damage and the additional defense, you can actually sustain your liquors and docks a little bit more, but of course that's a card in your deck that you're not using, and that's also an additional slot that you are not having for creature buffs or for creatures that actually can be controlled, so please keep that in mind. And the last thing that I wanted to point out is that if you want to run docks with liquors, you can actually take advantage of the Beastmaster variation for Birkin, because there are like sneaky ways that you can actually have more docks from Birkin if you run him, and the main thing that you can do is you can actually use the grab to increase the duration, okay, of your bioweapon use, and subsequently increase the time that you can use in order to spawn a dock, and the docks always spawn with Berserk aura, please keep that in mind. But in all honesty, I still like to use Fury most of the time. I'm going to show that in a game in a couple of seconds, and for it in a separate video. For Alex, the main theme here is that you can really take advantage of using hybrid builds now. That means having both mines and creatures with poison in your deck. That's going to be a story for another time. It can be done, it's difficult, it's not that easy to run, but it's not gimmicky at all, and it can work. You can increase you use this new skill to make more damage from the poison. Then you can actually poison them and use this new skill in order to combo. This is a way to use traps with combos. When you activate trap from one type, it doesn't affect the trap that is just static, not activatable, like the lockdown traps or the Leko traps. So you can use that with creatures and with other traps in order to combo the survivors the best way possible, and you can actually have an equipment that supports that in an effective way, but it's hard, it's not that easy to do, but I think the main theme of this update for Masterminds at least is to be encouraged to use high, so goes for Nikolai, because now he can have creatures with firearms, and I think that's really interesting. I don't really play Nikolai that much, but I'm gonna try to use him in that way for sure. And now let's go to an actual game with Annette where I use the liquors and docks, and let me show you how that actually works in game, okay? Alright guys, so this was actually my first game after the update. I didn't record the first couple of seconds because I had to take a phone call very urgently. This is going to be a game on Casino. I'm running a Beastmaster here, like I told you earlier, and it's going to be interesting to see how it works. I'm running a defense here, not the new one, because like I said, I don't think it's that good. And it's also the zombie dogs in area 2, and of course the new skill for the lickers and the zombies. This resilience skill 3 and the close level 1 and 2, and then the miniature reactor, like I explained. You need that if you want to run lickers. That's my deck. I have the dog, the liquor, casino zombie, and a couple of regular zombies with infections buff and energy leech in a single injection. I also have the discount and the energy booster. I don't like to go overboard with the vapors too much because it puts a lot of strain on your deck. And yeah, this is, like I said, I didn't record the first couple of seconds. This is on Casino Area 1. I can already use the liquor. I'm defending this position here because the first key is right inside that room. And yeah, Martin used the mine here. I'm up against Martin, January, Becca, and Jill. So, although this zombie died here, I was still able to protect the liquor for a couple of seconds. I'm going to use discount. I'm going to use a dog. I'm going to use the infection. And going to take off the light, but unfortunately the liquor died. But I have infected all three of them, so that's not very bad. Gonna try to damage Marty here, but here he used this new skill, as you just saw. I didn't have the infection anymore on my creatures. This also works, by the way, when you're spawning in a creatures with inherent buffs, like the 3 energy regular zombie that is infected. If Martin uses the button, or I assume the flash grenades also, he's going to remove the buffs even from these types of creatures, and this goes to show you further that you need to be able to reapply buffs in some way faster, because otherwise it's going to be a problem for you. And also, this is one of the reasons that I think you don't need to have a lot of uh, enhancers and vapors in your deck, and just use a single one to take the most advantage out of a single buff rather than trying to put a lot, because you're just not going to have enough time to do that when you're up against some serious players. Okay, as you just saw, when I have the two claws on the equipment, I'm doing over 400 damage from a bite by a regular zombie, so that's nice. I'm gonna apply the infection here once again, and I'm going to defend the door here. I ate the mine, but that's fine. Wanted to put another zombie, and then I'm going to just use the other fresh one to attack the survivors here, but Jill is using the rocket launcher, so these creatures didn't achieve much of anything outside of just increasing the level of infection maybe a little bit. I don't know why exactly I put the dog there. Maybe I wanted to just like cycle to the infectious vapor in order to be able to increase the level of infection on them. Here January is a little bit on the slower side of things, but I didn't want to use any more energy in this area. So they're going to have 4 minutes in area 2. And here the lickers and the dogs have, in my opinion, better like avenues to move around. I did a mistake with the dogs, but there are a lot of like open run spaces for them to do their work here. And of course in area 2 you're going to have triple dogs, which is like always nice if you want to run dogs in an effective way. But guys, I think I have played with dogs a lot, and I have a lot of other videos with dogs on my channel. But I think that the key to play dogs with Annette is to be able to support them rather to just like spam them. And now when you have to run lickers alongside them, you really need to be able to have some other things alongside your like lickers and dogs, otherwise they're not going to be that effective. Okay, so now I'm using the Beastmaster Birkin, and this is the trick that you have to use when you grab them. Okay, your like your timer uh, for your bioweapon actually stops, but your countdown for the dog spawning every 15 seconds continue to run. So when you grab them, you can actually increase the time to spawn additional dogs, and that's the best way to use Beastmaster Birkin in my opinion. Of course, there is the Tyrant Kick and other like grenades and stuff like that, but always attempt a grab when you can with Birkin in the Beastmaster variation. And yeah, here you just saw how the dogs died quite easily, although they are supposed to have better health. So you're not going to be able to just use them like and spawn them right in front of them. That you need to have a distraction. And here you just saw that Martin died, and here Becca is dead also. When the dogs are doing the like the grab, when they jump on top of them, that's the time where the dogs are doing the most damage from what it seems. But still you cannot just like spawn dogs and try to count that they are going to do all the work. The best utility that they have actually is the ability to go, I have talked about this before, the ability to quickly go behind the survivors and create these pincer situations in which you can actually attack survivors from both sides, which is always nice. But the problem is that the Martin, the Martin new like button and flash grenade buffs removal is going to ultimately prove to be too much for Annette in the long run. So I still think the best way to play her is actually to use a lot of tough zombies with a lot of HP, and to use the regular Fury Birkin variation because you really don't want to be that long in the bioweapon phase. And yeah, that was the game. As you saw, the dogs and lickers were able to dispatch the survivors in that situation, but that is going to not work every single time. And the key to be able to pull that out in the game actually is to have the correct preset, of course, but also to find the right balance to attack the survivors in a way that impedes their focus on the lickers and the dogs. So that's the real difficult part. Like spawning the creatures themselves is not that hard, but yeah, this is the way, in my opinion, to play lickers and dogs. Although, like I said, this piece of equipment that I'm using right now is still the best way to play Annette, together with a lot of tough zombies, a lot of buffs, and greatly enhanced creature HP on the passive skill side of things. Okay. Now for the next game that I'm going to comment on, I replaced the dealer zombie, the casino zombie, with the anchor card, which is probably not the best substitution, but I just wanted to try it out here. And this is going to be another game on casino, this time from the very beginning. I'm going to set up a dog there. Here on this preset I have this preset for Alex actually. I have an infectious zombie right in the front. I'm going to use the anchor right away in order to just be able to get a little bit of infection build-up. My equipment is exactly the same, by the way. I want to do a little bit of like infection build up before the encounter with the lickers and the dogs beyond the doors. So I was already able to infect Jill and that little mofo Martin. I freaking hate that character, by the way. Unfortunately, Tyrone here was able to enter the room unimpeded, so that was not really a good play from me. Here I want you to pay attention to what's gonna happen next. He was in yellow HP range. Yes, he was hurt by the tracker mine, but while he was in yellow, the liquor killed him with a single swipe. Okay, and that's of course thanks to the not only the passive skills but also thanks to the two equipment pieces for damage. But yeah, in this way, dogs and liquors can really be effective. But although, like, I have occasions like this in which the lickers do a very good job at dispatching survivors, I still think that a good survivor like squad and a bunch of players can deal with these types of situations. I'm a little bit rusty on the shortcuts, by the way, and yeah, here he used the uh, fever skill again to just remove the buffs from the creatures, and then I have to rebuff them. Here I just lost the initiative and wanted to just like put a zombie dog in front of the door because I didn't have enough time to reinforce beyond the door, so I just want to defend on the other side. This is a thing that you can do actually that is very effective, but as you can see, like, as you probably cannot see because it happens in the background, but the dogs are doing work and they killed Valerie somewhere on the map. So yeah, in short, if you want to play dogs now, you have to use the new skill for the damage of the dogs, and you have to play dogs with lickers, otherwise you're not getting enough value out of that skill. But that's going to be on the expense of some of the other creature buffs. Sorry, some of the other like creature passive buffs that you can have. For example, greatly increased HP is an enormous help in my opinion when you play Annette. So uh, you have to balance your equipment and your deck in order to be able to uh, use dogs and liquors that way. I'm not going to go as far as to call this type of builds gimmick, uh, but it will definitely take some work for you to be able to figure out how to play this correctly. I still haven't figured out how to play this correctly in the best possible way, but I strongly believe that you're going to need some kind of equipment for additional damage, and you're not going to be able to go that hard on the enhancers and like buffs as you normally would if you play Annette. Okay, guys, so this was my overall opinion about Annette in this new build and how to play lickers and dogs. In the next video I'm going to talk about Alex. I've been playing a lot of Alex lately, and I'm going to talk about how to make hybrid builds with her and how like the current update gives you an incentive to be able to actually do that by playing both mines and creatures at the same time. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!